Hello friends, today we will learn how to determine if a string has unique characters or not using additional data structure, that is hash map or array. As of now we have learned two approaches. One is using, first approach was using two loop where the time complexity was order of n square and the space complexity was order of 1 or a constant. And in second approach we have taken or we have considered the sorting approach, and where the time complexity became order of n log n. Now is there any other way that again we can reduce the time complexity? Yep, if we use additional data structure like, for example, hash map or array, then we can reduce. So let's say how it will work. First, that means first we will check. Let's say B is an array, whether B exists in another data structure or not, means in another storage. Obviously, for first time it will be empty. So B doesn't exist. That means we'll enter to the storage. Now we'll go for C in the loop. Again we will check whether C exists in that storage or not, and that storage should give us with time or with the complexity of order of 1, otherwise we cannot achieve. So initially we will find that storage will have empty, or the just check, if we find initially the other storage was like empty, and after execution of B, that storage now contain B. Again after C, execution of C, it will contain C. And now we will check, we will go for A, we will compare whether A exists in this storage or not. We found it doesn't exist, so we entered here. Now we will go for D, whether D exists in this storage or not. It doesn't exist, we will enter in the storage. And now again we will go for A, whether A exists in this storage or not. We found A exists in this storage, so we will return false, we will not enter. That means, but if let's say instead of A it was X, in that case we will enter X. So what is the complex storage complexity? Because storage complexity increased along with our input or along with our unique characters. So first, before that, it's better to ask the interviewer whether all the characters are ASCII or Unicode characters, and let's say at the best sort, sorry, at the worst sort, you will find the storage will not exceed than 256. Let's say it's ASCII. In that case, all the characters or the let's say the input contains 10,000 entries. That means there may be A will be repeated or B will be repeated. Similarly, the entry or the 256 that ASCII characters, any of those characters will be repeating, because we cannot have 10,000 different sets of characters. So what will be the space complexity? The space complexity increases along with our input variation, but the maximum limit is 256. It will not exceed that. Like we're saying that uh, let's a has value of 65, I think, uh, 62 or 65. There is a different value for small a and a different value for capital A. So that means we have 256 characters. Even space is there, and lots of uh, special characters are there, which is defined in that range. That's why it will not exceed more than that. And now let's learn how we can write the test. So here first we are verifying with the storage, and if it is not available, then we are entering to the storage. We are not doing anything else. So we can use hash map for that, or integer array for that. Integer array of 256 length, where we'll enter to the index. We'll change the value of the index only. Like initially everything will be 0 or it will be boolean. So if we take the array as boolean array, it will be everything will be false, and input array will be like everything will be 0. Then let's say we found one entry A, so we'll enter to the index of A, because A represents some ASCII code, that will be some 62 or uh, that value. So the entry will be there, not in other place. Means we will change the value there, and in hash map similarly we can achieve. let's uh, let's write that method using the array. So we can say the approach is the third approach, using additional space, that's array or hash map. So private static find using storage, and it will return true or false. So write boolean true or false, and it's in its char array. Cat is my input. So let's say we'll write int array 256. This is the length we need to take. Okay. Now let's print what does it contain. So default is return true, and let's call this method. We'll not do we have not done anything else. Only we are just printing out what does this array contains. We have only created an empty array with length 256. Now let's say it will return this that index, not index, it's a address, and we need to loop to print. We need to loop through each and every element. So instead of that, let's now write for equal to 0, I less than input I plus plus input dot length. I need to now we need to compare if array of I not equal to let's say 0. We are saying it's 0, no? Then array of, sorry, this is not I. We need to check for the value in input array of that index means this index. Equals to 1. Sorry, if it is equals to 0, if nothing is, then we will update, otherwise we will return false. Now let's execute, and we'll boolean result and okay. Now let's execute this. It false where it contains the duplicate value, and let's change the value to x. Let's see, it should return true. Yeah, it returns true. Now how does it work? What does this char input of array, this one, mean? To understand that, let's print what is the value of this input of some element. Here we can write that, let's shout let's we'll say int value equals to nothing else. We are saying print the value small a is 97 and capital A is 65. Small a is 97, capital A is 65. So when we are saying that we have taken that array of 256, so our array will be like something like this. You can say by default all the places, let's say this array will be 0 0 0 0 like this till that 255 place. This is my array, we are saying, or let's say this is the array contents. Now for element B, where we need to update the value, initially it contains 0, B is the 0th index, we will not change here, we will change the value at the integer value of B, that A is 97 and that means B will be 98. So we will not change this value to 1, we will not change the index to 1, we will change the index of A will be 1. Let's this is the, let's assume that this is that 97th value. So we will change this value to 1. Similarly, we'll change the next, that c means the next one is 1, and when it came for a, the previous one, that is the 97th entry, or index will be 96th, so that will be 1. Sorry, 97th index will be 1. Similarly, we'll fill it up, and when you found the next time 1 exists, we need to compare where it exists. It's not with the this 0th index. It should be with the index of the integer value of the array, integer value of the character. That means here we need to compare with this one. That's what we are doing here. Array of input I, or for simplicity we can say, instead of this, car, or say, here we can write that car element, and here we are writing car, sorry, element equals to input of I, and array of element, we are comparing with the array of element, not with the array of index. Index already we have taken to get the element, we are comparing with that only. Let's execute. Yeah. And similarly, instead of this additional array, we can also take hash map to perform the same operation, and only we need to use that hash map contains keyword. Thank you.